Hey, Chuck Dixon here with another edition of Whatcha Watchin, where I, go through the streaming services, pick out some gems, some nuggets, some films you may not be aware of, or maybe you saw them a long time ago and forgot about them, or maybe you saw them and didn't think much of them, and maybe I can give you a little bit more appreciation for them. Anyway, these are my picks, and this is what I think about them. This week I'm going to concentrate on HBOMax, which has extended its and grown its content by taking on the Criterion channel. Basically, AT&T told Criterion channel to shut yourself down. We're going to take your content and put it on HBOMax. Criterion, all you film freaks will already know what Criterion is. You probably have shelves of Blu-rays from this company. Criterion is a company that, through third parties and through their own auspices, universities, places like that, private donors, collect source material, the best source material they can on films that are lost, damaged, beyond repair, uncared for, unloved, and forgotten. And they do everything they can to restore them to their original glory. So they look the way they looked when they were originally exhibited. And we're going to start off with Elevator to the Gallows. It's a Louis Malle film. It's a French film noir. And it's Malle's, I think it's Malle's dedication to Alfred Hitchcock. French directors love Alfred Hitchcock, but they have a spotty record when it comes to homages to Hitch. But Louis Malle bats this one out of the park. It's a great story about lovers who they fall in love, and then they fall into a crime, a murder scheme together in which they're going to commit the absolutely perfect crime. But of course, nothing goes right. It's a deconstructed plot line. Jean Moreau is the femme fatale. Lino Ventura is here as a stalwart cop. And the rest of the cast, frankly, I'm not as familiar with. But it's one of those movies where the suspense just ratchets up tighter and tighter as the deceits, the betrayals, the lies, and the intrigues are all dragged into the light. And it's obvious, becoming increasingly obvious, that it's going to be harder and harder to cover up this quote-unquote perfect crime. It's a film noir movie, and it's been restored to pristine condition by the film scientists, film restoration scientists over at Criterion. Just an excellent movie. Speaking of Hitchcock, The Lady Vanishes, one of his absolute classics, made while he was still in England, while he was still working in England before he came to Hollywood. This may be the last film I think he made before he departed for California. And it's an espionage story. It's a mystery. Stars Margaret Lockwood and Michael Redgrave as two people who have a chance meeting on an Orient Express type train traveling across Europe during very, very tense times. And these were tense times when the film was made. Also, when this film was made, the studios were still distributing movies into the Third Reich. So the bad guys are never quite specified what country they come from. But anybody watching the movie knows we're talking about Nazis. The villains in this movie are the Nazis. The loving couple, the newly met loving couple, meet Dame May Whitty, this old British lady, English lady, who it turns out is a spy. She has a secret code that must be returned to the spy masters in England, or Great Britain will fall. It's just very important that and very urgent that Margaret Lockwood and Michael Redgrave get back to England with this secret. And in the midst of all this, Dame May Whitty vanishes off the train. She is the lady that vanishes. And where did she go? She wasn't thrown off. She still has to be on the train somewhere. Where is she? What happened to her? So it's a mystery. It's an espionage story. And in the end, it's an action story. And Hitch was a hell of an action director. For a guy who didn't move around a lot, he knew how to block out a shootout, a chase, and all the rest of it. And the suspense is high at the end of this film. It really does look hopeless. You don't know how they're going to get away. But I'm not spoiling anything, that the good guys get away in the end. And a lot of films are made like this, sort of warning of what was to come. Of course, they had no idea how horrible what was to come until it got there, until actually the war was over and we found out what a nightmare this was for the entire human race. But there's some humor, and it's Hitch, so there's plenty of thrills and chills, and I wonder what's going to happen next elements. Next up is To Be or Not to Be. This was a Jack Benny vehicle. Jack Benny was a radio comedian who was extraordinarily popular, huge in radio, big in TV, and not so much in movies. He didn't have a lot of successes, but this is the top drawer. This is the one that was a big hit. Audiences loved it. Audiences still love it. It's an Ernst Lubitsch comedy. He was a master of light comedy, but in this one he deals with, it gets a little dark. As Jack Benny, as a ham actor, leads a troupe of actors in Warsaw, occupied Warsaw, as they have to go on a mission they've assigned themselves to free some political prisoners, disguised as Nazis themselves, even to the point of one of the actors playing Hitler himself to get past the traps and snares set up for them by the Gestapo. It's a funny movie, but it's also chilling in spots. Again, another movie where it talks about the war to come, but without really knowing how bad it's going to be. Although the film gives you a absolutely certain prediction that things aren't going to go so well if the Nazis win and they take over Europe. But it's a fun film. It's got a lot of heart. Carole Lombard is amazing. There was a grace about that woman. She was the perfect comic actress, perfect romantic foil. And Benny is in his element playing a ham. Benny liked nothing better than play a role of a man who was marginally talented, but as vain as could possibly be. And it's just a great romp. I remember when I was a kid, I was just hanging around the house on a Saturday afternoon. My dad came up out of the basement. He had a workshop there, and he said, "Put on the TV. Watch this movie. You're going to love it." And it was an afternoon showing of To Be or Not to Be. And yeah, he was right. I loved it. He saw it when he was younger, and he knew I would dig it, and I did. So if you get a chance, and as always, Criterion, it looks better than it's ever looked. This movie looks better than it's looked in a long time. Cleaned up, sharper, and looking like the day it was first exhibited. Okay, I did old movies. I did foreign movies. You action fans are probably like, "Oh, well, what's this? Artsy-fartsy, hoity-toity crap." Okay, Criterion also has all 6 of the Lone Wolf and Cub movies. And anybody watching this, if you're a fan of mine, you already know it's based on a very popular series of manga comics in Japan. And as Japanese movies are, it's very loyal to its source material, unlike when American film companies decide to adapt manga. They hew pretty close to what the comic was about, visually, character-wise, all the rest of it. Lone Wolf and Cub stories are about Otomo. He's the shogun's leading executioner, and in grand tradition samurai movie goings on, he's shat upon by a bunch of vile creeps who he has to kill. And he's not going to be happy till he kills all of them. And there's so many of them, it takes him 6 movies. And he takes his little son along, an infant, grows up to be a toddler over the course of the 6 films. And these films are brutally dark. If you don't know the story, Otomo, his wife has been killed. It's one of the reasons he goes on the vengeance trail. And he's left only with his son. His son is the only thing he cares about in the world is his son. But even then, he's not sure that he wants to take his son along on what is to come. His march through hell, killing hundreds and hundreds of ninjas and Ronin samurai. He offers the kid a choice between a toy and a sword. If the kid picks the toy, he's toast. But the kid picks the sword. So he gets to go along with Dad. Dad pushes him across medieval Japan. Not actually medieval Japan. Tokugawa period Japan. In a baby cart, which the series is sometimes called the Baby Cart series. And these movies are dark, brutal, action-packed, but they also have quite a bit of heart. There's some touching scenes in the movies, some heartwarming scenes in these movies, because As restrained as Otomo is, there is a definite bond between he and the child. They do, it's a father-son team, and the son loves daddy. He loves his father, and in some cases saves his father's life. It's just an astounding series, and one of the bloodiest samurai series of them all, and I've seen most of them. So that's it for this week. If you want to get a hold of me, you can make comments below. The comment section on these videos has been even livelier than my Ask Chuck Dixon videos. So there's a lot of film fans out there that, apparently, this is sparking discussion amongst all of you. But if you want to reach me, suggest a movie or TV series that you'd like me to review, or you want my opinion on, or you disagree with me, contact me at brunobookstore@gmail.com. brunobookstore@gmail.com. And just to take this moment to shamelessly self-promote, I do write prose novels. I've written 30 of them. I'm working on a 31st. My Bad Time series, my Levon Cade series. So if you want to go over to Amazon and check them out, it wouldn't hurt my feelings. Okay, that's it for this week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Thanks for spreading the word. Thanks for subscribing. And I'll see you all down the road.